All right, hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to continue with our course with SQL statements. I will start today with an introduction, a simple introduction to some SQL statements. But the most important thing that I will give you today is how to install and the software that we will be using throughout the SQL development lectures, which is Bitnami. So we're going to be using Bitnami because in Bitnami you will have both the MySQL server as well as the PHP server installed together. And we really would like to have this because I'm expecting at the end of the course that you provide me with a project which is going to be web-based using MySQL. So in this case, the integration with PHP will be already done for you by the Bitnami software. And the advantage of a Bitnami is that you would be actually accessing your database and configuring your database through a web through Chrome. So it's a web-based application. Okay, so to start with, you will have to install Bitnami. I did step-by-step installation and a step-by-step configuration of a new database so that everybody, whether you have done this in the lab or not, oh, I just want to make sure that everybody follows up with me because most important is that by the end of this course, you should all individually be able to develop a project and present it for me, and it's going to be very important to your grade. Okay, so I want to make sure that I don't just give you the code. I want to make sure that you are actually able to create a database and to get acquainted with all the SQL statements and be able to develop a web-based application that accesses your database. All right, so that's why I'm going to give time for the configuration of the environment that we will be using. All right, today is going to be a simple lecture. Later on, we're going to have more sophisticated SQL statements. Um, it's very important that you follow up with me. Everything that I give you, I want you to try it on your computers. And most important thing at this time of the semester is to have everybody able to grasp the important knowledge that we want from you. That's the most important thing, and to be able to ensure that, I want you to follow up with the database development with me. All right, so hands-on, that's what I mean. We're going to take the rules and then implement them hands-on to make sure that you are grasping everything correctly. Okay, so you install Bitnami. In here, I did a step-by-step installation. I want to make sure that we all follow up. We are all able to develop the project at the end of the course, and we are all able to follow up with all the steps that I give you and implement them on your computers. And that's why I'm going through a step-by-step installation and configuration of a new database. All right, so at this point, you just select the last one. You deselect the other options, and you only keep PHP my admin. All right, and you click on next. So in this case, you are making sure that PHP along with the MySQL is installed and integrated on your computers. All right, so in here you keep this default installation location as it is. All right, and you continue. In here is your root password. I have provided everything in details in the slides so that when you get back to them and you start doing the work, everything would be clear for you. Okay, so this is the root password. You insert the root password here. You make sure you memorize this password, and that's your administrator password to the database. Okay, you deselect the cloud integration. We're going to be working locally on your computer. And you click next, and that's it. That's you ready to install, and Bitnami will be installed after this on your computers. Your computer is going to be the server. All right, and when you finish, you click finish, and now you can see the Bitnami stack. You have the Bitnami, we call it the Bitnami stack installed on your computer, MySQL along with PHP. Okay, so now to access it, you go to Chrome. Okay, you need the web browser. All right, and as you can see, this is your local host because your computer is the server, and that's where the MySQL and PHP are integrated. Okay, so you put the local host here, and you start. You choose an applications in order to start your databases. Okay, you click on access, and now you have to log in using your root and the password that we have entered while installing Bitnami. So that's the one I told you to memorize. So this is the root password. All right, you plug it in and you're ready to go. And in here, you will have, after that, you'll have this interface. So Bitnami provides you with a lightweight interface, which allows you to access and create your databases. Okay, so to start with, you will have to create a new database. So you click on new here, very easy. Okay, all right, so you give a name to your database. All right, so what we call it here is travel. All right, so we give a name to the database. Okay, and we click on create. So in this case, you are creating your new database. Then this is, if you are wondering what's the database that we are going to be working with throughout our SQL lectures, is the travel database, a simple database for now. Okay, so it's composed of an airport table, flight table, so airport, flight, and airplane. Okay. Um, of course, for each flight from which airplane, of which airport, so it connects to the flight from where the flight is going, and to which airport it's flying. Okay, and you have for each table the certain number of attributes. These are the columns. So you have code, name, city, the flight. We have flight number, weekdays of the flight, and to airport code, which means to which airport is this flight flying to, and which airplane is it using, the number of the airplane, the type of the airplane, and the date created. Um, the relationship between a flight and airplane is a many to many relationship, in that a flight could be using more than one airplane to be finished. So it could take, let's say, two or three airplanes. That's possible. Okay, and an airplane can be involved in more than one flight too. Yeah, surely. So that's why it's many. So a flight can have many airplanes, an airplane can have many flights. Okay, so to do this relationship between flight and airplane, usually always many to many relationships are done by inserting another table. In this case, we call this table flight airplane, where the flight number and the airplane number, as you can see, the flight number is the primary key of the flight, and the airplane number is the primary key of the airplane. And that's how we do a many to many relationship. Okay, so this small database is the one, a simple database. The idea is very simple. So this is the database, the ER diagram of the database that we are going to be using throughout our SQL introduction and lectures. All right. So to do that, we start by creating a new table. Okay. So you go to new and you click on create table. All right. And then, for example, in here, we started with the airport table, and we specify that it's going to be composed of three columns. All right, so create table. We're going to have the name of the table, the first table, which was the airport. And of course, we're always working in the travel database. Okay, and we have 3 columns. And then we click OK. You will have this interface in which you are able to input exactly three columns, the ones you specified in this slide. Okay, so we start with the code. The code I have identified it to be an integer. Okay, so the code is an integer, and I specified that it's going to be the primary key. Okay, so you will have this, you'll have to do that. I want everybody of you to go throughout these steps. Very important that you do that. Very simple at the same time, very essential to continue to the rest of the course and to be able to fulfill the requirements of the project. Okay, so the second column is the name, a varchar for text. Okay, I suppose you have already seen such things in the lab. And the length maximum is 50 characters, which means that you can use maximum 50 characters. It could be less, of course. The third column is the city column, okay, and the type is also varchar as well, which means it's a string of characters, and you have 30, maximum length is 30. You finish, and then you click on save. All right. Again, you click on new once again, like you did before, and create table, and you are able to create the second table. Here you specify the name of the table and you specify the number of columns in the table. As you can see, you have already created the airport table. Okay, so now we are creating another table, which is the flight table. You see, okay, so this is the flight table, and we want to add more and more columns to the flight table. You have the number, okay, number column, which is an integer, weekdays column, which is also text, and to airport code, which is an integer. We click on all that, we enter these data, so systematic, straightforward, and we click on save. Okay, and as a result, you'll have this table. If you click on the structure here, okay, so uh, we'll have the table structure here. Okay, so this is number, weekdays, and the to airport code. Okay, so these are the columns. It's showing me the result of the previous page. So when we click on go, we get these that's different columns in the table. Okay, in the flight table. All right, so we still have one more table to go, which is we click on new again, and then we're going to insert another table, okay, which is in this case the airplane table. And again, we enter the different columns. Okay, we entered here 3 columns, the number, which is an integer, the type, an integer, and date created, which is a string of characters. Okay, so the maximum is 30, and then we click on save. Okay, so this is that's the airplane, and you can see it's created. Okay, the number, the type, and the date created. So these are the 3 tables. This is we're showing here. If you click, as you can see, the airplane is selected. So this is the airplane table. All right, and the primary key, of course, is the number because we have selected it to be the primary key. All right. That's the last table we want to create. So we click on new, and the last table is the one that allows me to do the many-to-many relationship, if you still recall that. So it's called flight airplane. So that's the last table we want to create. And in this table we have two columns, flight number integer and airplane number also and then to do finish, we click save, and now we're ready to go. This is our database, okay, which is composed, called travel, which is composed of these 4 tables, and each table with its columns already set. The structure, the schema of the database is already set for you. And as you can see in that final table here, we set both flight number and airplane number to be primary keys. Okay, and that's how it is because it's the table that we use for the connection between flight and airplane, and this is going to be the primary key. So both together are going to be the primary key. So we only have each record uniquely has a certain flight number and an airplane number together. Okay, is this clear? All right, so now let's start with SQL. I'm going to stop now so that I don't have very long videos.